It's the Punch-Out Party on 103.9, the Fox Flint's Classic Rock Authority. I'm Jeremy Fenech, and I'm thrilled once again to have on the line Joel Hoekstra from Trans-Siberian Orchestra, making some magic with that guitar. Joel, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely, man. It's an honor, as always, to have you back. And, of course, you guys are back with the 2018 Christmas tour. It just keeps getting better and better. And I got to tell you, you were about 10 feet away from my wife and I at Little Caesars Arena last year, playing your heart out, that look of joy on your face. Does it ever get old getting out there?
No. I'm definitely just glad to be a part of it every year. It just seems to get better. The tradition grows stronger for the performers just as much as it does for the people that come to the show every year. So definitely proud to be a part of it and super excited about this year.
So do you believe it? The 20th anniversary of the Christmas Attic is available now on CD. What do you think about that? And it's going to be on vinyl, too, coming out in November. How about that?
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's exciting. And obviously the 20-year thing we're very proud of. I mean, to have become this much of a tradition for so many people speaks to itself, speaks to the genius of Paul O'Neill, really. His just brilliant combining hybrid of all these different elements that just created such a unique show and experience for people that there's something there for everybody. And those that haven't seen us, hopefully they'll give us a go this year, and I think they won't be disappointed. The production this year is beyond belief. I mean, I know you've seen the show, and you've seen some pretty impressive stage stuff from us, but wait till you see what we got coming this year.
That was my next question. I mean, of course, Paul really was never, I don't want to say never happy with it, but it was never good enough. You always had to improve and go back at it next year with a fresh show because you know you've got those fans that every year coming back and they're always going to be looking for something new. So taking that and seeing what you guys have done last year, just mind-blowing. I mean, the stage comes out of the ceiling, comes right out into the audience. And on top of that, you guys are actually out in the audience walking around. So what does it feel like to be right there at the cutting edge of, technology? You've got a brand new arena like Little Caesars Arena that really integrates all of that technology for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. What's that like to be a part of that?
I'll tell you, it makes my job a lot easier, doesn't it? I mean, like when it comes to being visually entertaining on a stage, it just it makes a guitar player's job quite a bit easier when the production looks like it does. I mean, to have something going on like in terms of a Pink Floyd laser light show and the pyrotechnics and moving stage parts of a Kiss show, and I mean, it's just amazing to be a part of, man. Honestly, I said before today in a different interview, you could probably put somebody on stage in a rocking chair and they'd look like a rock star. I mean, it's like there's not much left to do when you're on a stage that looks like this. So it's a tremendous opportunity, and it's something that I definitely feel blessed to be a part of.
Talking with Jeff Plate about this, and obviously running the rhythm section, as it were, how difficult is it? Because obviously some of that stuff is computer-controlled lighting, but for the most part, it's manually operated, and to get it all to sync up so beautifully, how hard is that to do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Paul O'Neill really did a great job of putting a good team of people in place, and he was extremely loyal. So the people that have been doing this have usually, for the most part, been here for years. So we're a pretty well-oiled machine in terms of understanding exactly how to get this thing done. Even though it's, still unbelievable to think that we're playing an evening show in a city and then we're all set up and ready to roll the next day in another city for an afternoon matinee show is an unbelievable thing to think about. But again, it comes down to everybody understanding exactly how to do their jobs. I don't care how far down the totem pole you consider yourself with TSO. It's all very important. Everybody's job is important to make this thing work. So we got a brilliant design team. Brian Hardley with the lights every year is unbelievable, and our management does a great job of coordinating everything with the production team and getting it's unbelievable to be a part of, man. It really is.
Jeff now on this levitating drum set that he's on is obviously being controlled by somebody else. You've got a lot more freedom when you're out and about. But, did you know? I mean, I was wondering that. I actually asked my wife on the way home. Do you think he came out there knowing that I was sitting there? There's no way. There's absolutely no way. But he was right in front of us. Do you know where you're going to go, or do you just kind of get the freedom to head out there and plot your own course and do your own thing?
Well, the show is loosely choreographed. It's not people wonder about every movement and stuff like that. It's like, no, it's just where you go for certain portions of what songs, and then from there it's up to you as a performer to kind of follow your instincts to be visually entertaining for people. So if there's a moment where we're going out in the crowd, the general thought is we're going to go out in the crowd at that time. That's about it, and then you're just following your instinct from there. But in general, honestly, with stuff like that, I like to play for the kids as much as possible and make it an experience that they're never going to forget for the rest of their lives. You know, like,
Absolutely.
Remember when we went to that arena show and that guy came out and played guitar like 1 foot away from us? So to me, that just feels like it's a cool opportunity to do something that leaves a lasting impression. And it's also good for building a future fan base for Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and those kids will never take it for granted that it's part of their tradition, that, like, you know, they're hooked if something like that happens, and they're going to want to come back. And so again, we want to obviously make Paul O'Neill proud. He pictured this becoming a tradition for people and living way past him for years down the road, and we want to make him proud and make that happen. So we're all about that, man.
Faces were definitely lit up before you came into the crowd, but even more so when you walked by. I'm not gonna lie. Now, let me ask you this. At the same time, it's got to be pretty cool. How far out? 50, 30 feet above the crowd? When you're on that kind of a rig for the first time, what's going through your mind?
A lot of fear. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm scared of heights. So it's just kind of something that the way it seems to work is every year they do a little demo of any kind of lifts that we're going to be on. And when I go up on it in rehearsals, I'm scared to death, like the first time I do it every year. And then the first few shows, I'm scared to death. And then by the time you're going up on it for the 50th or 60th show of the tour, you're just kind of numb to it.
Right.
So
right.
It just goes to show you can even overcome the fear of death during a TSO tour. It's I don't know. It might sound stupid, but that's exactly my mindset with it every year. I'm terrified, but then by the end, I'm in a groove with it.
So it never goes away. You just get numb to it. That's
exactly, man.
That's hilarious. All right, so obviously, Little Caesars Arena is a pretty large arena by comparison versus the Palace of Auburn Hills. What do you prefer? A larger stadium, a smaller stadium, a more intimate crowd? What is your preference? I mean, obviously you do some touring beyond TSO. So what is Joel Hoekstra, what is your preference? Obviously it's not on a rig 30 to 50 feet in the air with pyrotechnics going on underneath you.
No, I mean, honestly, as a musician, any opportunity I have to play music at a high level and play with people who are positive people is what I enjoy, and it doesn't matter really. It's going to sound cliche. It doesn't matter if it's 10 people or 10,000, but it's true. I mean, I'm going to want to play the very best I can for those 10 people. If it was only 10 people there, I'm not going to say it's only 10 people. I don't care. Right. I'm still, especially nowadays, all it takes is one person with a smartphone. Are you kidding? You might have 500,000 views on YouTube that night. I mean, you never know what's going on. So every moment you step foot on a stage is important, and especially to make a living in music, you can't take any moment for granted. So I love all of it, brother. It doesn't matter, 10,000, whatever you got. But I will tell you that Little Caesars Arena, man, we're psyched to play there. That was awesome last year. Always loved playing the Palace. Detroit's a great rock city in general, so always excited to make our way up there, man.
Now, I'll be honest, when I went to see you, that was my first visit to the Little Caesars Arena, and coming from a spectator, it was very confusing from our end versus the Palace of Auburn Hills. What was it like backstage seeing this new shiny and new venue for you guys? Is it neat when you play it the first time?
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, I'm not gonna lie in that I always loved the Palace. So
right.
There's a side that was a little sad, like that we weren't going to be going back to the Palace.
Right.
But there's another side that was excited because that place is amazing that they put together up there. It really is. I mean, so it's it's kind of like in Chicago, you know. I mean, we were sad when they took down the stadium. I grew up in the Chicago area, and they built the United Center, but now the United Center has built its own. It's obviously a great place, and has built its own legacy. So, you know, hey man, it's like I said, we're lucky to be doing any of this. So definitely psyched to be headed there.
Now, let me ask you this. We talked about how quickly you can be from one place to the next. I asked Jeff, and I think he told me you guys have 20 tractor trailers that move everything all over the place. How long does it take them to set up?
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, they go straight from the show to the next load in. I mean, I know that to be ready for a matinee the next day, you're pretty much talking. You do load out, you get there, you drive there, and you do load in and set up. So it's a very hard gig as a crew person. It's a very hard gig as a musician, actually.
Sure,
I mean, because you do 8 shows a week and the signing lines and everything. I usually refer to it as the Marines of rock, but the crew guys definitely bear the brunt of it. They're the real heroes of the tour for sure. I mean, to do what they pull off is unbelievable. So like I said, every person's important with TSO to make it all function for sure.
Can't believe it's been around this long. I'm just looking at some of these numbers. I mean, you guys ranked in the top 25 touring artists of the past decade, according to Billboard magazine. More than 12 million CDs to date. It's just amazing. And to think that this started just over 20 years ago, 22 years ago with the 1996 release. What has been your favorite song to perform over the years? Has it changed, or has there been one song that really stands out?
I don't really have one. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking for the ones with the giant production or the fancy guitar lines, but it can be just as cool that some of these songs that Paul O'Neill wrote where it's just a single voice and a single acoustic guitar when I'm doing that for an arena of people. So honestly, to just have an opportunity to play the music and convey Paul's stories to people and like I said, be a part of such a great production and work with my friends in the band and see my friends who are the fans, quote unquote, you know, over the years out there, familiar faces, people that come year after year. It's all that stuff together. It's more than any one song. So it's hard for me to say.
That's awesome. That is just great. Well, I tell you what, looking forward to seeing you. It's going to be a fantastic show. Once again, Little Caesars Arena, take 2, and we'll be out there. I'm going to have the kids out. They definitely want to stop by, say hello, and encourage people. If you've not had the chance to experience this firsthand, you can see the videos online. Sure, it's nothing compared to being there, being part of the audience. It's not just a show, it's an experience. And Joel, you guys put on a hell of a show, and I wish you the best of luck in the touring season, and we'll see you very soon at LCA.
Thanks so much. Appreciate your time.